Welcome, everybody, to another edition of UFO Encounters and Cryptid Phenomenon. Welcome there, Gary. Hello there. Welcome, everybody. And Nicole and everybody else that's just now tuning in this afternoon. Happy Monday to you too, Nicole. So, we're getting reports of more black flying triangles flying across the United States of America. I wonder what G-Man thinks about that. So, you did blow my mind the other day about India going to the moon. People did not believe me on some of my shows about that. They're like, India did not go to the moon. I'm like, India went to the moon. So they had to look it up themselves. I'm like, yeah, not only did I see it on national TV, it was just like a 5-second, 8-second clip, but somebody, show bombed me on a show and told me. Now, our G-Man just made an announcement that we're going to the moon for $30 billion. And we are putting men on the moon for 2 weeks. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well, I told you I'd heard about these things, when we're talking earlier.
Did you know that we're going to the moon?
Yeah, that's all. When I was saying to you that
for 2 weeks, we're going to put men on the moon for 2 weeks.
Well, the problem is, is there going to be enough room for them up there?
Hey, Eric, welcome to the show. Hello, Rita, Roger. Hello, everybody. Well, I didn't know that you knew America was going.
Yeah, I was saying that, they're a little bit behind because, we've got India, we've got China that's at the far side of the moon, and they've been there for a couple of years, if I remember rightly. I told you.
Yeah, whatever.
But the thing is, this is what they've said. This is, it's like they can come out with a statement and retract it. They could say, oh, well, they had no business in actually saying that. But the thing is, they've said it. So is it a case of, they've said it and it's written down and, so they've got to do it? I don't know.
What is the purpose? Somebody explain to me what is the explanation? I want to know why we're going to the moon. Why is all of a sudden there's a race again? Okay. So
that was the premise of me telling you in the first place, what is going on. I mean, I've got a very good idea what's going on.
Well, tell me, because I must be ignorant.
Well, it's like I've been saying, I've been involved in this war along with my other brothers and sisters this has gone on for many years. And we've been fighting in a war in the universe. And there's bases on planets and there's other life forms on all the planets. All the other planets have got forms of life.
Well, Eric says it's a perfect jump off point to other planets.
It is. And it's a case of, it's strategically, you have the moon and you can, sort of like, if you go to the moon and then basically you've got all your equipment there. And what do they call it? Terraforming. You can terraform. You don't need to do that, actually.
Man, they were doing that in Star Trek.
Yeah. But it's like some people say it's hollow. There's only half of an object there. The other half, there isn't another half of a circular object. Some people say that the other side of the moon, that there's buildings, there's land, there's trees.
Yeah. There's alien bases.
And like what I've seen, but, sort of like I can say something and, it's like, oh, you're talking rubbish. All right, then. Sometimes I don't bother these days. So I've stopped talking.
Well, Roger, you used to be able to buy a piece of the moon at one time and put your name on it. You used to be able to buy a piece of the moon, a section of the moon, and it could be Grizzly section. Did you remember that, Russ?
Of course,
just like you used to be able to buy a star.
A star.
Yeah.
Of course you
now,
could.
Now, do you see this plane, Russ? Do you think this is a misidentity of UFOs? This is one of our G-Man secret undercover spy technology planes that it's supposed to be one of the new Lockheed Martin hypersonic strategic bomber concept.
I've seen a number of craft, and believe me, that if you watch and you view
hypersonic,
if you view an object in sight and then going out of sight, you know, you get a good idea of what you're looking at. Now, if I saw that, I would think that was unusual. I would think maybe a triangle.
That's what I'm saying. You think an average person, you know, or is seeing this and maybe misidentifying it? You know, I don't know.
You could. I've seen things, and I've had to take a step back. But when it comes up close, and you see it's a proper triangle, I mean, you can see the back.
There's another one. That would flip me out.
Yeah, that's very similar to me when I look at it. The area, you know, with the front intakes and what have you, where it used to be for the where it could turn down and you could hover, you know. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I don't think everybody's misidentifying these craft, you know, as UFOs. You know, I mean, I've been baffled by one or two what I've seen. And then when I've seen them heading off, I thought, well, that's an unusual craft, but it looks like an aircraft. You know, but the thing is...
but supersonic. Alexa, what is supersonic speed?
Supersonic speed is the speed of an object that exceeds the speed of sound. For objects traveling in dry air of a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius at sea level, this speed is approximately 343.2 ms.
I didn't even tell me how much. Well, what is the speed of sound? Alexa, what is the speed of sound?
In dry air at 20 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, the speed of sound is 343 meters per second, 1,125 feet per second,
125 feet per second,
hour, 767 miles per hour, or a kilometer in 2.91 s.
That is getting it.
In fresh water at 20 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, sound moves at a speed of roughly 1,481 meters per second, or 4,859 feet per second, and, in salt water at the same temperature,
849 feet per second.
What is it in miles per hour?
4,921 feet per
I don't know. Ask your Alexa why is it not miles per hour?
She won't talk to me. She doesn't.
I mean, that is, you know what, getting it. So, I mean, if you're outside where I live and you see something like that fly over and you see a regular plane fly over, the first thing I'm going to think is that's a UFO.
Yeah. You might think that's something unusual. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, you're going to think it's a UFO.
The thing is...
Unidentified flying object. That's what UFO stands for, UAP. Unidentified aerial phenomenon, whatever you want to call it.
No, we don't call it aerial phenomenon. No, it's UFOs. At that speed, that should be melting.
Well, it's not.
So
that technology's there. Well, I don't know. Ask Boeing. It didn't say what it was made of. Look at the SR-71 Blackbird. And that was back in the 70s. They couldn't even keep it on the ground with fuel because it sped so fast it expanded. Right? So when it was on the ground with fuel, it would leak. So that's why they had to fuel it in the air.
In the
That's
air,
why they had to put stings underneath of it, like the old car in the driveway, to catch the oil as it dripped. And people didn't realize that, right?
I had a motorbike like that.
Yeah. So,
dear.
Alexa, how fast does an SR-71 Blackbird go?
The Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird can fly at speeds up to Mach 3.3, or 2,534 miles per hour, making it the fastest manned, air-breathing aircraft.
2,300 and something miles per hour.
Well, why didn't you tell me that about the one, the first one he asked her?
I don't know. Alexa, why are you being dumb?
She turned herself off. Mine's
She
done
sure
that.
did.
And I said something to her the other day, and she turned off. She hadn't turned back on yet.
Eric says to go fast in the speed of sound, they need to create a warp bubble. So let me explain something. So I am an average hunter, and I used to go competition shooting, and I used to shoot long range. Right. And people would never understand why, when I would shoot, they would see that 2-liter bottle at 300 yards explode before they would hear the boom. Yeah. And I'm like, there were two things that you will see. The bullet was traveling 2,130 feet per second, right?
Yeah.
So the bullet would impact that bottle before you'd hear the boom. Now you would hear two booms. You would hear the bullet that breaks the sound barrier. Then you would hear the primer ignite the powder in the cartridge. That's why you hear the crack and boom, kaboom, kaboom. Yes. So I lived in the Mojave Desert for 10 years. Lockheed Martin was 5 miles. Whoa, Nicole, I bet your house was shake, rattle, and roll. 4 to 5 sonic booms a day. I believe it. See, they used to do that a lot when I was growing up, when we lived by the airport, or when we had the Air Force base here.
Apparently, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to do this.
Oh hell! You got that much power between your legs, and you're out in the country. What the hell are they gonna do?
Yeah,
you're gonna let it rip.
The problem is, there's been so many accidents with people on horses. Right, yeah, elderly people driving cars that have had heart attacks, when they've gone boom, and there's a case, I think that there's been a case in England where 2 horses basically, one fell on the other one and fell on a rider, and the other thing, they're not supposed to let off electronic countermeasures anymore.
What do you mean?
Right. When an aircraft is doing an exercise and there's something chasing it, right? Now
you mean the flares?
It fires flares out of the back. They're called electronic countermeasure or chaff, right?
Right.
I saw 5 flying saucers. And I got my camera out and took a video of the aircraft, because they're an aircraft at the same time. And all of a sudden, bang, electronic countermeasures came out of the aircraft, the jet. And I caught it on video. And I said, look, I've been filming these 5 flying saucers where I live over in Filey. And this aircraft has just, almost exploded with these electronic countermeasures.
The UFOs let out the countermeasures?
No, the
jet fighters.
The jet. Now that's because there's something on its tail. It's funny that I saw 5 flying saucers before, and it did it. So I sent up the video to Time T's News television, and they looked at it and they said, "Oh, the police brought it back." And they said, "Oh, don't worry. All as it is rockets from the back of the aircraft."
What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And I said, "Well, wait a minute. How do you mean?" I says, "Yeah, but what about the UFOs, we don't know anything, but that's all it is. No, that's not all it is. Okay. So that was about 20 years ago. I've got
Man,
the video.
I'd tell you what is wild. And Nicole,
why did the police bring it back?
nah, something ain't right. You know, a warthog, flying low, that will never, you'll never forget the sound of that, a warthog. You know, not the gun. I'm just talking the way it sounds, the turbines on it. But I'm just saying, with the technology that our G-Man has, and it's slowly leaking out because people are, you know, look at the F-35 stealth fighter plane, you know, back in the late 90s, mid 90s, when it had electrical issues and it flew at that airport, made emergency landing. Everybody thought they were under attack by aliens. They didn't know what it was.
Well, do you remember when there was an air show on television in UK and they turn around and what did they say now? That they said this is
Tinker Air Force Base. Thank you.
And it was like it wasn't supposed to be seen, but they were watching it and talking about it, and it was like, you know, the stealth. So it was like people were saying, well, you know, sort of like they know what it is. Well, it was really peculiar how it came across on TV, you know, this show. There was not supposed to. What it was, the radar tower had said, we've got radar picked up this coming in now, this stealth. But they were supposed to be not being able to be seen by the radar towers. Do you see? So obviously it was seen by radar. So something wrong there. You know what I mean?
Know.
If the radar's picking it up and it's saying, oh, we've got stealth bomber coming in, you know, sort of like radar towers just said, well, how does radar know? Because they're not supposed to be picked up on radar. And that would a big question mark. Are they really? Who says?
I think it was a cover-up. Now, what was that one plane that had the nose that dipped? That was the Concorde, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that?
Americans didn't like it. They didn't like that the British and French had built a plane that could go so fast. And
from here to London in 3 hours or something, wasn't it? 4?
They blamed it on the noise and the pollution and everything. But
so what did they do? Just wiped it, or did we steal the technology?
Well, would America do anything like that?
Eric, I used to have a military book that I found that I wasn't supposed to have with all the military planes they had. Well, Eric, wow, ooh, that's interesting.
My friend Eric, hi. Do you want to come to my house for tea and let's look at the book?
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Well, next show will be just by myself, right? But I mean, I'm just saying we're getting this technology, and somebody said it in the comments, reverse engineering.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, that one plane, I forgot what it was. It was some kind of. Here's another plane that they. Here's what Russia. If I can bring up the picture. It's not coming up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you this picture and tell me that this does not look like it come out of the movie Stealth. Remember that movie Stealth?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that movie we talked about was in 2005. What does that look like?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, that's, to be quite honest, yeah, that is similar to what I saw that fell out of the sky. It was just the wings are a bit further back.
But now look at the markings on that. What does that look like to me?
Well, I know what it looks like to me.
Now, this says Beijing Reporter. And this is the Boeing 797 new stealth bomber, B-2 stealth bomber. Now, doesn't that look like that came out of that movie from 2005?
It does, yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's Russia's version. Where'd it go? Where's Russia's version? There's Russia's right there. Now, if you saw that in the sky, would that or would not make you think that was a UFO?
To be honest, I'd be a bit worried because that doesn't look like it's capable of flying. To me, right, yeah, that does not, as daft as it may sound, looking at it, I'd be thinking, what, how the hell is that being kept up in the sky? Because it does not look like anything that's aerodynamic or anything. The other one did, but that doesn't whatsoever.
Yeah, Gary, long before 2005. Thank you. I know, right? I agree with you. But what I'm saying is where are they getting this technology?
Well, to be honest, I mean, everybody knows where they're getting it from, I think. There's two things, right? When you say that they've back engineered it, right? Yeah, have they back engineered it? We've only got, again, it's anecdotal evidence, isn't it? It's always he says, she says, but who says that it were back engineered? And I mean,
what's his name that worked at what was that guy's name that worked at Los Alamo or we all thought he was crazy and they tried to erase his life and he disappeared for a while and now he's like, I try to tell you so.
Yeah. Flipping heck.
I mean, I can see his face. He wears glasses.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He was talking about Area 51 and
yes.
Flipping heck.
I'm going to check the comments here.
I'm pulling up. The thing is, what I'm saying is this. You've got to go back before that because they didn't just start making them at Area 51 in 60s and 70s. This predates before that. This now goes back to
Robert Lazar. Robert Lazar. Do you mind naming him?
Yeah. This goes back now to sort of like when the Nazis had their Peenemünde base and they had all their facilities, rocket facilities, etc. Right now, at the same time, what we've got is after the war, we've got the Roswell incident, and what they said is that it was back engineered. What they'd said was it was back engineered, from then. But the thing is, then we're here that, of course, that we had the president who had met aliens and had made this secret pact, right, about giving technology for humans, right?
You're talking Eisenhower.
That's right, yeah. So the thing is, you wouldn't have to back engineer anything because, if they're going to be doing things, for the government, surely they'd be giving technology. They wouldn't just be giving information. Surely they'd be giving the actual thing itself and flying them in. Does that make sense?
Well, Robert Lazar said that he was even testing UFOs, if you remember.
That's right, he did. So where did they come from? I mean, and the problem is, and this is a problem, and this is what lets the one theory down, and that is that they were still testing them. So obviously, if you've been given an actual craft that were working, sort of like there'd be no problem, would there? It'd be like straight out of the box, sit in it and fly. But if it had been back engineered, I suppose, then you're still messing about with it, aren't you? Sort of like you're tweaking it and trying to get it working. So, and the other thing is, if it was working, we're flying it, because these things are only 3 foot tall, aren't they?
Well, how would you know how to fly? That's my thing. I mean, it's not like it's got. I mean, that's like me getting into a Russian submarine. I mean, I guess. I mean, I guess all the flying instruments would be the same, or the instruments would be the same location. But we're talking a UFO, a spaceship.
And the other thing is, everybody from my point of view, when I met aliens and the communication, right, it wasn't normal talking.
Did they teach you how to fly a spacecraft?
It was telepathic. No, I would just ground troop me. And I was sick every time. Every time I was taken, I have been sick as a dog. You know what I mean? Feel ill. Come back, feel ill, the same. But the communication, what I'm saying is, the communication is the same. It's telepathic. So it's a case of, what they're saying is, it's like this think flight. And that is, you sit in a chair and you think and you'll fly that craft. You know what I mean? It's like, it'd be like in a motor car or a motorbike. You get on and you look and you go forward, and you know what I mean? I don't think I'd be safe myself, but you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be think and fly. You sit down and wherever you want to go, you'll think and you're there. You know what I mean? It flies and it takes you there.
Oh, I'll be all over the damn universe then.
I wouldn't trust myself going to shopping one. Never mind about all else these days. Oh dear. Not at the moment. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, could anybody fly one? Well, if you remember rightly, there was something similar on that, Firefox? That film with Clint Eastwood in, about the Russian aircraft. And you sat in it, and it was, again, that were the same controls. You fought, and it did what you thought. It flew by, thinking, by your brain. So they put an helmet on. The only problem was, it was when they stole it, it was like Russian language, and they had to get somebody that was Russian. Family had come to America, but he could still, his first language was Russian, to go back and steal this aeroplane from Russia, if you remember. Was it Firefox?
I don't remember.
Yeah, and it was about stealing this aircraft that were fought and flight. You sit in the aircraft and you have this helmet on, and basically, like you could do all sorts, loop the loop, and you just looked and you'd be off. You know what I mean? I'd leave a trail of devastation behind, knowing me.
Yeah, Eric says it was Firefox, all right.
What I thought it was. But so the thing is, this is 20 years ago when they were talking about this, and it's a case of, it's in a film, they've probably made it. They've probably got the idea from somebody who's leaked information out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's like you were saying. If you know about something, it's being leaked. It's probably because it's already been used by the military. So in that case, that means what is the next level? You know, sort of like pilotless flying, drones, which we know that, you know, there's people, you know, sort of like flying drones and sort of like areas in UK that are flying drones to attack, you know, sort of like installations, you know, like in when there's a war going on.
Well, they got taxi drivers over here, or Ubers, whatever, that picks up people with no drivers.
No way.
Yeah, where have you been? Yeah, you call for an Uber, man. A car shows up with nobody in it.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't the UFO crash in Roswell supposed to have hieroglyphics on it? I think it did.
The problem is every time you hear about a UFO crash, it's got hieroglyphics. You know. But,
I think he scratched some of it, or didn't he stencil or didn't he mark some of it down and got confiscated or something? I thought he drew some down, and I thought the government took his drawings or something.
No, I think he had them hidden, didn't he?
I don't remember.
He had them hidden for years. Yeah, he had them hidden, and he gave it to his son before he passed away, if I remember rightly.
So, but but in the stealth movie, the fourth that plane that I showed you in that movie, right? Yeah. It was supposed to be Eddie was an unmanned fighter plane that was AI that was learning to be a pilot, and he was learning. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And yes, of course, and it wanted to do its own thing.
Yes.
Well, they've given it the right.
And now they're testing semi trucks with no drivers.
Yeah, but they've already got Uber drivers without.
Yeah, I didn't know you knew that. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, people are freaking out. Yeah, they're calling for Ubers, and they're you ever seen Google Map cars? They got all the drivers, they got all the cameras all over the cars. That's what it looks like.
No way.
And the car pulls up, and on the phone it says your car has arrived, and you get in the back seat, and you slide your credit card and or whatever, and it takes you to your destination.
What happens if it's a rogue one and it don't like you?
I have no idea. I know one thing. I know during one of the things, there was a police roadblock, and the car didn't know what to do. It was stuck. Yes. And the police were trying to direct the car, and the car kept wanting to go straight through it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was awful. So I don't know how to do that. Somebody from your channel, tech is getting crazy. You may want to catch up a bit, Russ. Yeah. Driverless cars are on the streets. They're crashing and blocking traffic, glitching in the middle of the road. They are doing that. They are crashing. They are glitching.
How long have they been doing this?
Oh, going on what? Over a year now, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and the drones, they have the Roger, even the AI drones they've already done.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
On your channel, driverless flying cars, the next step, it's coming. Yeah, they already approved a flying car through the FAA.
Yeah, the problem is what you see a lot on YouTube and on internet, and there's some fantastic cars and the takeoff and the fly, but I've never actually seen. Never. But then again, I am in UK.
$80,000, you can have a flying car. Yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. But what I'm saying is, it's a Uber. it's the other that I'm sort of like taken back with, because, sort of like, if they've caused a
Now
commotion
you know
already.
how I felt when you dropped the bomb on me when you told me India went to the moon. Yeah, now you know how I feel.
I don't know which is worse. Seriously, I don't know which is worse.
I just ruined your day. Look at you. You are really messed up over that. Yes.
No, I'm just thinking I might we have them over here.
They got them over there. I'm telling you.
No, I mean, do they have them in the UK?
AI and UFOs, whatnot. I don't know what is real or not real anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you. And I agree. If I had to take an Uber once on a business trip.
Yeah.
And if a car would have showed up without a person in it, I'd have been like, oh hell no, I'm not getting in either. So yeah, they're already going to drive the semi trucks. Yeah, absolutely. They don't have to worry about rules and regulations, sleep. Yes, don't have to worry about going to the bathroom, eating. Yeah. Tesla cars you can buy and drive. And yeah, I've seen people driving on the interstate being filmed sleeping behind the wheel. And the car's driving. It drives themselves. Now, my question is, and I brought this up when it first came, you're at a bar, you're drunk. You're drunker than a skunk.
Yeah.
You plug in your address and the car drives you home. Are you driving intoxicated?
No, because you're not driving.
Well, you're still behind the wheel. You're still in the car.
Yeah, but you could be in the back seat, like you say.
Well, I don't know. Has it ever been challenged? So that you catch my drift?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would wait for the driver too. Absolutely. Hey, Red, welcome to the show.
Yeah, but the problem is, and this is a problem with technology now, and it's like, if you've called, you've bought something or you're buying something on the internet, right? Yeah. And there's a problem and you ring up when you're buying and paying for it. Oh, everybody wants to talk to you. But when there's a problem, anything goes wrong, nobody wants to know. And you can be hours sat on a phone waiting. Now imagine if you were not happy with that Uber turning up, right? And you're ringing up to say, excuse me, but I don't want to be in a driverless car. I want somebody human, sort of like.
I don't know if you get a choice, because everybody that I've seen, look, Nicole says my husband saw somebody on the pad last week practicing his trumpet while in the car drove himself on the freeway. I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, ladies and gentlemen, come on. And look, somebody on your channel wants to go bar hopping. If you're behind the wheel and the key's ignition, even not moving, it's a D. Yeah. If your car's running and you're in the back seat,
yeah,
it's still intent in some states. So, flying pig, you know what? Don't even bring that up, Roger, because next thing you know, that's going to be flying over my studio next. And poor Russ is still screwed up about the car driving itself. You got to go out there and look at this. I mean, it is scary. I mean, seeing people sleeping behind the wheel, or driving down the interstate, like Nicole said, or somebody, and seeing a car, nobody in it. And it's like, what do you do? Gary says, I know that because someone I knew was asleep behind the wheel and parked and was arrested. See, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this. But I mean, the thing is, it's like with the internet.
I know, Denise, Russ is really messed up right now. Russ is like, Russ can't fathom this. Russ can believe in UFOs and aliens. But
Yeah,
a
but
car,
I've seen them. I've never
but a
seen
car
another
drive by
driving a
itself.
car.
Where Russ is in.
What next? I mean, like I say, if you've seen it, you know what I mean, you've been taken by them, you can understand, you can believe. But if you haven't, what?
I ain't gonna be taken by no car with no driver.
It's not a good thing, though, is it? You know, seriously. I mean, especially, it's like over in this country, we're closing down what you call an hard shoulder, where people, if they have problems, can pull in, right? Yeah, and park up and basically get the wheels fixed or their engines and get towed away. Now, my government think it's all right for people to go flying down there. Instead of spending money and building another lane, which common sense says if you need to do that, you need an extra lane. But no, what they're doing is they're putting people's lives at risk, and people have actually died on these lanes because the government have closed these down. You know what I mean? It's ludicrous. And I mean, the reason why I can't believe it, you know, I'm thinking, are you serious? Because the implications behind it about, you know, sort of like road accidents and health and safety. Who do you blame for the crash then? If there's a crash, who do you blame?
The owner of the vehicle, the company.
Because obviously
whoever owns it.
It can't have passed a test, can it? Because it's not human.
I don't know. I don't know how they allow these vehicles to drive on the road. You know, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
I mean, I could tell you a story about in this country about drivers and driving licenses and why it's risky going out in any transport over here. When there's, I think it's 2 million people on the road that have never passed a test. Well, the fact is,
you got a bad. Well, it's the same thing over here in America.
The thing is,
people driving with suspended licenses all the time or never been licensed.
People have never passed a test. These are people that have bought somebody and got them to pass a test. Now, the thing is, if they know the numbers, right, yeah, that means that they must know who the people are. So that means there's people driving around illegally.
Well, see, we have over there in UK, you all have cameras that takes pictures of the license plates.
Yeah,
we have cars on cameras that sits in the middle of the interstates. That runs license plates, insurance, license, and all that. So, so they get them. They get them.
So, and what they're wanting is they're wanting people that haven't got any insurance and what have you to pay, and people speeding more than anything, right? Yeah, we've got all this fantastic information and cameras, yeah, but instead of it being looking into areas where there's rapes and murders and people going missing, right? Yeah, what does it concentrate on? People speeding and bringing sponduli, greenbacks.
Yeah, but that's where you get your dope, your drugs, your warrants, your people with no licenses, your criminals.
Yeah. So rather than that, they're more interested, you know, sort of like in the poor bloke trying to get to work. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but you may have a warrant. You know how many people I pulled over and locked up that had outstanding warrants for speeding because they were late to work? Lots.
Well, answer me
this. You know how many
then.
times I pulled somebody over for speeding because they were late to work, didn't have a license? Lots.
Well, just think about this, because this tells you how crazy we must be in the UK and Americans must be as well, right? Yeah, we've got a country called Germany, a thing called the Autobahn, right? Yeah,
right.
And you can basically do what your car has got on that clock. Right, yeah. So your car might do 200 and some miles an hour, right? Yeah. So long as you're not driving dangerous, you can do that, and you have been since I don't know how many years. Right,
since
yeah.
Adolf Hitler built that highway.
Right. Blame it on Adolf. Anyway, so the thing is, there's us here piddling about at 60 mile an hour, which it came down from, 70 mile an hour, which it came down from 80 in the 70s because of the petrol prices and everything. And what the noise, that the slower you go, the earlier you've got to get out and to start your journey. So now in Wales, I think they've actually said that they've got to do something like 30 mile an hour on some of the roads, and the petrol's gone up. So it's a case of people are just stuck. You know what I mean? They're going to have to go to work an extra hour before because of the journey. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ludicrous. In Germany, they're flying down at 200 odd miles an hour in Ferraris and God knows what else.
Hey, if I had a Ferrari and it went 280, I'd do 240.
Well, I'll tell you something, you'd be behind me.
Oh, I'd be flashing my lights and honking down.
I'd be looking behind, giving it Grizzly.
I'm just telling you, you know, what we have in America, we have the regular lane,
Yeah.
the speed limit lane, right?
Yeah.
We have the middle lane for passing. Then we have the breaker lane, which means you're going to break the law lane. So in Indiana, I don't care how fast you're going in that far left-hand lane or that left lane. If somebody's behind you, you don't merge over. That's $500, buddy.
Oh yeah, it's all about the books, the sponduli, the redbacks, the greenbacks, the whatever.
No, it's keeping road rage down. You
Well,
know,
no,
don't
because
camp out in the
it's
left lane. How many times
it.
have I been on the highway and I'm doing 70 in the right-hand lane where everybody else is doing 62 in the left-hand lane? So you're the one that causes people to have road rage. You're the one that camps out the left-hand lane.
Why is it road rage if you're flying past somebody?
Why aren't you in the other lane where everybody can pass you then?
But you're in the far lane, flying down at a reasonable speed, going past people.
Then why are you in the left-hand lane?
No, I'm talking about the lane where you can pass on your right lane.
Say we drive.
No, sorry, on your left lane, yeah. Right, yeah, sorry.
If you're in the left lane, the fast lane, we'll call it the fast lane.
Right.
And you're sitting there and I come up behind you, you should move over.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So why can't everybody else go around that lane fast?
I do. If somebody comes up on me, I get over and let them go by.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what yeah, but what I'm saying
a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people sit there. If the speed limit's 70 miles an hour, you'll have somebody doing 60 in that lane.
Oh, you get that over. Yeah, I see what you mean. You get that over here. But the thing is, in Germany, and they've done this forever, and they don't have any problems. Over in
if I was on the Autobahn and I had my American car, I would stay in the far right-hand lane because I don't want no Lamborghini or Ferrari up my rear end, especially if I'm only doing 70 or 80.
Yeah, so you'd let people go in that lane past you, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Nicole, listen to this. Now, Russ, the carless thing screwed you up. We got people with mannequins in their car that will drive in the carpool lane so they can use that extra far left-hand lane because you have to have so many people in the car to use that. There's hardly nobody in that lane to pass all the traffic up. They'll put blow-up dolls or mannequins in the car. Yes. They would dress them up and make them look like humans.
Dear.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I went to the house one night. I don't know what your name is, sir or ma'am, on UFO channel. And this guy had road rage, and he had no idea I was behind him. He was in a pickup truck, man. He was riding people, honking the horn, flashing lights. And he got up, it was 55 miles an hour. He got up over 70. My partner was like, "Are you going to pull him over?" I'm like, "Nope, not yet." He's like, "Why is that?" He said, "He's going to get up to 90 miles an hour. You watch." And I got him at 96 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got him for road rage, reckless driving. I got him for everything, took his rear end to jail and impounded his truck.
Yeah,
So,
but you see, I'm baffled by how people can get more time in like prison and stuff than murderers and rapists. It sort of like bothers me. It seriously bothers me, especially when you can see that there's a principle that works in Germany and it has done for 80 years, right? Yeah, and you see these people making these films going over, and it works, and you know, they must think that we are so much idiots in our countries that we're not able to drive car. Well, we know that there's a few million that shouldn't even be driving.
well, same over here. I mean, we got the same problems, but hell, now let me ask you this. I'm not trying to laugh. I can't look at you without a straight face. Do you know cars park themselves?
Well, let's put it this way. I've seen some people.
No. The answer is yes or no.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, but I've also seen.
So you know, cars can automatically parallel park themselves.
Oh yeah. And
is that not messed up? You just go up and hit a button and the car parks itself.
You go to. I think you're supposed to be.
Denise, I can't either, Denise.
Next to the
poor
car.
Russ, he's gonna have nightmares tonight.
Oh, dear. The thing is, if the work, do the work, and like you say, if there's sort of like if there's blockades and on cars and what have you, Uber cars, because why haven't they been programmed in?
Well, when I first saw the commercial, when the guy was like, "Honey, watch this," and he hits a button, let's go, the steering wheel, the car parallel parks, and the girl's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "The hell is that for?" Because he couldn't park his own car. That's what it was for.
Yeah, but that's the problem, because there's so many people that can't drive. You're supposed to be able to parallel park your car.
You don't have to anymore.
On your driving test? You've got to be joking. I know some people that the countries where they're from, they go down a lane and round a roundabout thing and come back and go past donkeys, and that's their way of passing their test in their countries. And they come over here and they've got a license, and you're thinking, but that ain't what the main roads are like in this country. How can you have the same licenses apply? I mean, in Middle East, it's like, but yet they've got the same driving licenses, and you're going, what?
If you don't have an American driver's license, you're in trouble. There's no such thing as international driver. Well, I don't know. Laws may have changed now. I don't know.
It looks like it.
But when I was on it, we didn't have international driver's license.
Well, when I had mine, we didn't have cars that had nobody in them.
Gary, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I guess the person that owns the car is liable. I don't know. I never taken a crash report. That's how, Rita, quit. You're not helping me at all. Poor Russ. Your face, Russ, is everybody's just laughing with you. It's messed up, isn't it? Depends on the state, Nicole says. In California, you don't have to parallel park. Wow.
But why?
I don't know. She says on your test.
But yeah, but this is it. You know, it's like
You know how I had to practice on parallel parking. My dad put 2 trash cans out the front of the house.
yeah,
And he said,
same.
"There you go, son."
Yeah, that's what we used to do. Yeah, until I didn't in my dad's car.
So
You're not doing that again. Use plastic bins instead, then.
that's funny.
Yeah. Dad, do you want to give me a lesson? No more lessons, Russell. No more lessons. Yeah, dear. I don't know.
But you know, with the technology and what people are seeing is it G-man? You know, is it man-made? What we're seeing in the sky? So,
Well, the thing is twofold, which is there's a story you're talking about. I think like British Airspace and what have you, and Lockheed. They're all part intermingled, aren't they? Making parts and what have you. I'll tell you a story about British Aerospace. They have one of the biggest aircraft over in this country that drops off aeroplane wings and noses for these massive big jumbo jets and stuff. I'll tell you a story about that, and it's to do with a UFO story called the Berwyn Mountains, right?
right.
But anyway, I wanted to ask you this. Because it was on the show about cryptids last night, and you mentioned something which I'd mentioned, or the chap mentioned that was on. Forgot his name.
Right.
Now, what it was, we were talking about, you know, when Bigfoot had been seen, what times of the year, right? Yeah, that you know, sort of like Bigfoot had been seen, etc. And you were talking, because obviously you being into shooting and hunting, etc. And he started talking about the months, and I'm just sat listening. And I'm thinking, I've got this down in my files, right? Yeah, I've got somewhere up, because I used to do a lot of shooting, but I did target shooting. That's what my glasses are. Someone made a comment on my Facebook, and I've got Beretta glasses on, you know, shooting glasses and what have you. And I've got other glasses, but anyway, I looked, and there were the shooting times of animals and what have you, and hunting, right? Yeah, which I don't know much about, because I've got this thing that tells you. But like I say, I used to go and I used to do target shooting. But it fit in with what the chap was saying about hunting times in America. And it fits in, if you remember rightly, with the UFO sightings in the UK. And I told you, if you remember rightly, I said it came under Jason. Well,
Yes.
June, July, August, September, October, November. And it were those months where UFOs had been more likely to be seen, because had been registered down, and it were wrote down in these months are the months when UFOs are seen the most. And then the chap started talking last night, and it seemed to be the same thing. Jason again with Bigfoot.
Yeah, they think hunters really stir them up in the woods during the hunting season, deer hunting season in America, because everybody goes out in the woods and hunts, and Bigfoot, you know, steals their game. We get a lot of reports of that happening. A lot of encounters of hunters seeing Bigfoot or Sasquatch out in the woods during hunting seasons.
So that'd
you
be
know.
July, August, September, October, November.
Bow season usually, I want to say, starts around October.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So really, it's all around this Jason where the UFOs are seen as well. And I find that quite sort of like interesting that there's a correlation there between these months of the year when the UFOs are prevalent to be seen, same as Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or whatever you want to call it.
It's interesting, because there are theories out there. It depends on who you talk to. That says that, Bigfoots are slaves of aliens or once was slaves of aliens. They were brought here, thousands of years ago or thousands of years ago. Or, there's so many different theories on them. I really don't know.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I've read this myself. I mean, this goes back. If you really go back to one book, and it talks about the slavery of these this race, which is Anunnaki and Inky and what have you, and saying that first of all they made sort of like a human who were slaves for gold that were red, and then they made another slave brown, and then they made another slave white, and they were tweaking the genes to see, sort of like which was going to be the best for working, sort of like basically as slaves in these gold mines. So that was a famous what was that now? Was it the 12th planet or something? I'm just trying to think of the not Castaneda, another other guy who had said, but then again, it was just a book. It was like a book and a theory, what he'd said about where we'd come from originally. But who knows? I mean, I'm not 100% sure, really, the origins of the aliens that took me. You know what I mean? They were very, very cagey. They were very, very cagey to tell me. But then again, they were going through this war, and they'd been attacked. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'd been attacked by a number of different alien races. And they didn't want anybody to know through me or anybody else, sort of like where their actual home was, if you know what I mean. And I mean, you could understand it. I mean, if you're being attacked non-stop, sort of like, and you're in a war, and this has been going on for millennia, apparently, you'd be a little bit sort of like edgy and cagey to talk to anybody,
Yeah.
But like I say, when I heard that about Sasquatch and Bigfoot, about these times and shooting. But the thing is, surely there must be seen, sort of like other than in those months where there's shooting, shooting
Bluetooth
season going on.
disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Pardon?
That was my phone connecting and reconnecting.
Sorry, I thought it was Alexa then. She hadn't spoken to me for 2 weeks. Anyway, since I told her off. Yeah, so I was gonna ask you something now. I forgot what it was. Now. Oh, my mind's a mush tonight. My mind's a mush. It must have been that Uber that just got me sort of like. Yeah, so yes, I mean those aircraft are definitely very, very in the looks. They're very, very similar to some of the the craft that have been reported, like triangles, you know. But there's various types of triangles, you know, and I hear people and they're always talking about, is it the TV3 or something, is it? You know, that's all people seem to know about. And, you know, surely if we're making, you know, these triangles, there's got to be more than just one triangle.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like cars and it's like anything else, isn't it? You know, vehicles. You'd have your fast, your super fast, and you know, your sports cars and what have you. You know what I mean? And then you'd have your equivalent to like your trucks and your big trucks and your monster trucks. You know,
Right.
which leads me to the you know, you've got your, you know, your different type of objects, and you know, from what looks like just normal like balls of light. Some people call them orbs, you know, sort of like balls of light, and you know, all the other strange things, your sources, your 2-tier sources, your 3-tier sources, you know what I mean, and the small sources, you know, the sports type, and then there's the mothership type of flying saucers, and you know, there's so many different things what people have seen, and then your cigar shapes, and then your triangles, and you've got your boxes. People have seen things like boxes in the sky. You know, I've actually got a few videos of strange things which are like a pyramid, and it looks like it turns and it's lights. And the problem is, it's in the I think it's in just before bonfire night, right? So you can hear fireworks, and the problem is, as soon as you hear the fireworks, people automatically decide that it's a firework. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's a big problem, because it's one of the best videos I've seen, but the thing that lets it down. And someone says to me the other day, well, you know, sort of like turn the sound off, but you know, you want to hear the sound, and you can hear the fireworks, but you can see this thing turning, and it lights up, and when it lights up, and you can see a little red light come on, it's, you know, it's one of these things where at the moment I'm just seeing now what I'm going to be able to use over the next few months through a contract. And I'm going to, because one contract's up, what I've let them use, so I'm going to be able to put me dolphin back up on YouTube so people can look at the dolphin, you know, like, and see it. So I'm just waiting for one or two things to happen there, and then we're back in business, you know, sort of like to put more videos up. But I've spent the past few days going through me night vision on my security camera, and I went and deleted about 20 images, videos, because I thought I'd back them up. I thought I'd sent them, and I remembered I hadn't sent them after I deleted them. So brilliant. But not
That
to worry.
happened.
Well, it shouldn't happen though. It shouldn't happen, but you know, it like you say, sometimes it does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's been quite a strange week, you know, finding out all sorts of things. But again, so we know that, you know, India have landed. The thing is, what's China doing next? You know, we've heard, you know, like America saying that they're going to be Why 2 weeks?
Don't know. I didn't really study up on it and try to figure that one out or look into it. So
You know, sort of like why just 2 weeks? Would they be wanting to do that for 2 weeks?
I guess
You
we'll
know.
find out soon.
Well, how soon? Can you remember when they said?
I just found out today for the show.
Yeah, but is it in 2000? When is it? 2024?
That they announced it. That I didn't. It was right for the show. Was when I saw it. It's going to cost them $30 billion. They're going to spend 2 weeks on the moon with men. So.
Yeah, just makes you wonder just why. I wonder if, yeah, you know, I mean, we know that there's, well, presume that there's the craft over the other side, what belongs to China, right? So is it a case of, are they a little bit worried about what they're doing over on the dark side of the moon?
Don't know.
It's not good, is it? No. UFO channel. Hydrogen free is why. Well, you know, it's like they're saying there's forms of there's forms of energy, there's all these different minerals and what have you on there. And what they're saying is some of the components, right, yeah, what they need from a metal point of view, the need from the moon to build some of this new this so-called new metal, because we haven't got it here on Earth. You know what I mean? It's like we've got things on Earth that they haven't got. You know, sort of like gold. Some of them haven't got, but they've got other minerals and whatever, which you put them together, and you've got some kind of super structure. You know, and this is why, you know, sort of like, is this why they come to different planets? You know, sort of like bartering, wanting, you know, we want this from you, can we have this? And, you know, just makes you wonder.
It does.
But also there's the other thing, which is, you know, like, you know, there is a war going on, and well, the war back then, you know, when I were taken, obviously it's not been for some time now. So I mean, is it still going on? You know, and sort of like, what was it? Was it a stalemate? Because the last thing I remember, it wasn't. You know, so it just makes you wonder. Hydrogen free, powerful than nuclear. 1,000 years. Powerful weapons. Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, this is from a mankind, you know, humans. This is it, isn't it? But what's it going to do with it? Because it's got all this power, and sort of, yeah, it sort of like starves people. You know what I mean? It's like all the governments, all the countries have got all this power, but yet they can let people die in cold and starvation and what have you. You know what I mean? So the problem is, you know, looking at that, like you say, it'll be put to ill use. It won't be for any good use. That they want it for anything good. You can be sure of that. You know what I mean? It won't be to help, you know, children and women and men, you know, sort of like go without starving, you know, keeping them warm. You know what I mean? It'll be for something totally opposite. You know what I mean? This is a problem, you know?
Yeah.
Indoor multi-level farming.
Could be. That's probably what they're going to do. Who knows?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, they're not going to tell us. That is for certain. But obviously, you know, they're always looking for the next thing to make them money. Really, isn't it? You know, if you look at reality, that they're always looking, and it's if they can make money, you know, sort of like they'll go anywhere to, you know, to make money. But you know, at what cost? Usually the cost of the people, you know. But anyway, yeah.
No,
So
we had a good show. We had a real good show today.
It's you know, it's very thought provoking because you know, there's a lot of issues, you know, being brought up tonight, and some of them really, you know, we can laugh a little bit, but it just makes you wonder, you know, like we are going down this sort of like road, you know, and technology, you know, it's running away. Is it running away? You know what I mean? Because we you know, basically people are having to set off, like I said today. I remember watching television, and there's people talking about having to set off to work now an extra hour before to get to work, right? Yeah, because they brought the speed limits down in Wales, right? Yeah. Now, you know, it won't be before long that England will probably adopt that speed limit. So other people, some people travelling to Wales, some people travelling out of Wales, they'll become one. So there'll be people travelling all over, and we'll all be travelling at a lesser speed. So you're having to basically an extra hour you lose because you're going to have to get up an extra hour to travel longer, you know, and sort of like you know, whether you believe in whatever speeding rules and regulations and what have you, you know. And I don't say anything blasé because I had a grandma that was knocked down by a speeding driver, you know, sort of like and killed years ago.
Wow.
So I don't say this, you know, when I was only young, you know, going to hospital, you know, to see her every day with my mum and dad on buses and stuff. So, you know, I know that I've gone fast, a certain difference, you know, but what I'm saying is if they've got these autobahns where people can go on the autobahns, you know, sort of like, and, you know, go fast to stop you from being late and what have you. The problem is, and this is always a problem, there's always a bottleneck when you go from the autobahns into the cities because there's always a bottleneck. And that is the problem. Until they figure out, you know, sort of like, but what do you do? What do you do, Chris? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the next is the flying car.
That's coming.
I've seen the one. It was like a motorbike. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's not for me though. I don't like heights. You know what I mean? No, it's not for me.
But I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in today and catch us on our next show. I got another show here in a few minutes.
No problem.
And
Well,
I
thanks,
enjoyed
Chris.
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I always enjoy your show. Always, mate. It's brilliant. And everybody that's tuned in and anybody that said hi, if I haven't seen you, I'll say hi. And I hope I haven't upset anybody with my thoughts or anything.
Nah.
Good night. God bless to everybody.
coast to coast and around the world. That's a wrap. We'll catch you on the next show, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.
Bye.